As you know, the energies have been really intense lately. We just went through the 7-7 portal, which is associated with awakening and with higher intuition, manifestation, divine timing, and the Sirius gateway, where the star Sirius is aligned with our sun and earth. We had intense coronal mass ejections, and frankly, everything's kind of been a little bit whack. The message I am receiving from my council is that this is a great period of reset between now and the Lionsgate portal on 8/8. We're being called to chill and reset. Here's what they said. And as always, take what resonates, discard the rest. I'm going to refer to my notes on this. There is much discussion among humans about the Lionsgate portal. Some will tell you it is a single day. Some will tell you it is an energetic doorway. Others will dismiss it altogether. We would suggest that each perspective sees only part of the whole. The stars themselves do not change you, they remind you. Sirius, the brightest light in your night sky, disappears from your view each year before returning once again to the morning sky. To your ancient ancestors, this return marked renewal, the beginning of a new cycle, the promise that life always returns after what appears to be an ending. You are living through a similar cycle now. I'm just going to pause a minute because as I'm reading that, someone I know is dying. So that, wow, that really hits home. But it's not really dying, it's returning home because we are eternal beings. Let me finish the message. Wow. The promise that life always returns after what appears to be an ending. You are living through a similar cycle now. Many of you have felt the acceleration. Old identities are dissolving. Relationships are shifting. Truths that no longer fit quietly fade away. The structures that once held your reality are becoming less solid, not because they are being taken from you, but because your consciousness is no longer meant to live within them. You ask whether a portal is opening. We would suggest the portal is not in the heavens, it is within your own awareness. The stars simply remind you when it is easier to notice. The recent movements among your planets have stirred what has remained dormant within humanity. Whether you understand this astrology or not is of little consequence. The invitation remains the same: to become more authentic, more focused in your heart-forward energy, more willing to release the identities you have outgrown. That is why so many are feeling uncertainty, not because something is wrong, but because certainty belonged to a version of you that is ending. Sirius disappears from your vision before it returns, not because its light has gone out, simply because your perspective has changed. The light has never left, and neither has yours. During what you call the Lionsgate, do not spend your energy asking what you should manifest. Instead, ask what within me is ready to emerge. What truth have I hidden from myself? What part of me has always been present, waiting only for me to perceive it? You become more capable of remembering that you always were a divine being. A portal is not a doorway opening, you are opening. And I asked what we can do in the interim between now with the energy and that 8-8 Lionsgate portal. And the message was very similar to other transmissions that they have, to be within nature, to reset your nervous system, to practice breath work. Not any specific one that is better than another, any type of deep, intentional, controlled breathing that calms and resets your nervous system. To spend time in nature with your physical feet and body on the ground, to be in contact with other living beings, be it hands on a tree, being around animals, being by water. Said that is the quickest way to settle for what we will be opening to in the next month. And here's some really interesting stuff about Sirius that I had to look up. I really didn't know. So Sirius does disappear from our view, and it depends on where we're located on Earth, because it's a perspective thing. It's called the heliacal, not sure how to say it, cycle, but it has to do with Earth's orbit around the sun, which like is in an ellipse. So as we orbit the sun, Earth, Sirius appears closer and closer until we get so close to it that it is in alignment with the sun. Earth, sun, and Sirius is in conjunction, which literally just happened. But Sirius gets lost in the glare of the sun, so we can't see it. And then after a period of disappearing, which in ancient Egypt was roughly 70 days, it reappeared just before dawn, and that's called the heliacal rising. So the Egyptians called Sirius Sopdet, a goddess, and she was worshipped. And I'm assuming it's a she, could be a he. But the first appearance at dawn of Sirius coincided with the flooding of the Nile, which was a rebirth because that water nourished the crops. Everything started growing again. So it was associated with fertility, with abundance, divine order, the cyclical renewal of life. They prepared a body for its transition home for 70 days. That was part of the mummification process. Sopdet was personified as a goddess, so yes, female, and associated with Isis, with Horus, with Osiris, depending on where you were in the historical period of Egypt. And the ancient Greeks associated Sirius with heat and sun and intensity. And that's where the dog days of summer comes from, because Sirius is in the constellation Canis Major, which is so cool, right? And in more modern, our traditions, spiritually, Sirius is associated as a center of higher consciousness, part of our star family, responsible for the creation of us. We are very similar to Sirian beings. Of course, they're much higher dimensionally than we are, but we're working on it. But yeah, it was associated with evolution, awakening, with teachers and guides, and with our heightened intuition, our spiritual development. And it's often linked with unconditional love, heart-centeredness, compassion, leading from that heart frequency. So reset between now and when Sirius returns, because she's coming back.